up, guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel. So the purpose of today's video is to talk to you guys about my experience on the Disney College Program, right? So I'll kind of bring you guys through everything that I experienced, from roommates to friends, to going to the parks, living in Florida, all that kind of stuff, right? So the purpose of today's video is just to kind of give you a perspective of what my experience was like on the Disney College Program, and hopefully that can be helpful for you to determine if the college program is right for you or not. So this is kind of part of a series that I've been making on the Disney College Program. So I have a bunch of other videos that I'll be posting or already have posted, so definitely check those out. Okay, so to start this video off, the first thing I wanted to talk about is my job experience, right? Because that's kind of the majority. What you'll be doing the majority of the time on your college program is your actual job, right? So personally, I was a character performer on the Disney College Program, and so I got to be in the parades, and I just got to be, kind of performing at Walt Disney World. And so my hours kind of varied a lot. So I could be working really early in the morning at like 6 a.m., and I could also be working really late at night, all the way up until like 1 a.m. So my week and my structure changed all the time. So sometimes I'd be working mornings, sometimes I'd be working day shifts, and sometimes I'd be working night shifts. And that can really affect you on the college program. If you're really used to being on a routine and waking up at the same time every day and going to bed at the same time every day and kind of doing a very similar structure, going to the gym at this time every day and all of that. If you're that kind of person where you just need the exact same thing every single day, the Disney College Program might not be the best fit for you, because you really will be working really any time of the day. Your schedule changes all the time. So if you kind of like being flexible and being like, oh my gosh, like what's this next week going to look like, then the college program might be for you. And of course, there is some consistency in your schedules, especially depending on your role. Maybe you've got a role where you're working 9 to 6 every single day. And if you are, Monday through Friday, and if you are, perfect, like that's great. But just know that there's a lot of roles that aren't like that, where you will be working variable hours. And especially in the college program, you're probably working hours that no one else wants to work. So that might mean the late night shifts or the early morning shifts. So that's just something to think about before considering doing the Disney College Program. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about is roommates. Right, this can really make or break a college program experience, especially if you're in a 2x2, which is what I was in, where you're literally sharing a room with someone else. Now, the very first room that I was supposed to be in, my roommate and I were not a fit at all. He was smoking in the room, and the room was super unclean, and he actually had a history of stealing things from prior roommates. And so I knew right away that that was not a fit for me at all. So I went to the housing office, and long story short, I ended up changing rooms. And my next roommate was clean, respectful, and we really didn't have any problems whatsoever. But, you kind of have to learn with how to deal with a roommate on the college program. And if you've lived with roommates in college, then you probably already have an idea of how to do this. But you just really need to make sure everyone's on the same page about cleanliness. And, if you have to go to bed because you have to wake up early in the morning, make sure you let your roommate know that, because he might be coming in and might be making a bunch of noise. And if he wasn't aware, he might turn on the light. And you definitely don't want that to happen when you're trying to work really early in the next morning. Or vice versa, if your roommate's trying to work really early the next morning, you want to be considerate and not make a bunch of noise when you come in. So that's definitely something to consider on the Disney College Program, is there is a chance that you'll be living in the same room with someone. It's not a guarantee. You might get your own room, but you could be living with someone. And even if you do have your own room, you're still living in an apartment with 3 other people. So you do still need to work on, who's doing the dishes for your room. Is everyone on their, is everyone cleaning their own dishes? Or cleaning after themselves on the counter? Is someone watching the TV in the room? Are your roommates bringing people over, friends over all the time and making a bunch of noise? These are just things you have to consider and talk through on the Disney College Program. And that really can make or break your college experience. So I would definitely say, if you know someone who you want a room with, definitely put that preference in, because It can relieve a lot of stress if you know just one other person that will be in your apartment that will be on the same page with you for roommate stuff. Okay, so the next topic I wanted to talk to you guys about is friendship, right? This is a really huge part of the Disney College program, right? Who am I going to be friends with? Am I going to make any friends at all? That's kind of a question that you might ask, especially if you're moving there all by yourself, because no one wants to just be alone in the college program experience. So personally, from my experience, I met most of my friends through work, right? I would work with a lot of the same people every single day, and I would get to see them after work, and we would work similar hours. So then we would do things either before work or after work, or, you just kind of have to be intentional with friendships. So you have to really make sure you're making plans with people, whether that's going to the parks or, hanging out at Flamingo, because you'll probably make a lot of college program friends. You just gotta make sure you're intentional with those friendships. So work is probably the number one place that you'll make friendships. Another one could be your roommates, if you guys really do get along and end up, liking each other, that's probably going to be where you start with friendships. That might be your very first friendship or friendships on the college program. So that's one way. And another way that I made friends is actually at the pool at Flamingo. So they have a bunch of different recreational activities at Flamingo. I actually made a whole video about Flamingo, so check that down in my other videos. But specifically at the pool, I was able to make a lot of friends on my first week. You just meet a bunch of people, and if you make plans and be like, hey, let's go to Magic Kingdom tomorrow, or you work tomorrow night, let's go grab dinner, or whatever. Just make sure you're intentional with hanging out with people, because something that I learned a lot is everyone's kind of in the same boat. Everyone wants to make friends. Everyone wants to be with people, but also a lot of people are waiting for you to make the first move. Everyone's kind of thinking in their head, if they talk to me, I'll talk back to them. And if they want to make plans, sure, I'll go along with it. But if everyone's thinking that, no one's actually going to be making plans or being intentional with people. So you be that person to be like, hey, you doing anything tomorrow? Let's go to Magic Kingdom. Let's do whatever. You just kind of have to get yourself out of your comfort zone, and kind of hang out with people. That's really the way you're going to make friends. Okay, and kind of leading into that is a big part about the college program is actually going to the theme parks, right? Because we have access to the theme parks for free on the Disney College program. So if you're like me, you're going to want to go all the time. I would go before work sometimes if I was working a later shift. I would go before work if I already said that before. I'd go after work if I was working a morning shift. But I'd also go on my off days, right? Because you can go basically any day you want. There are going to be some blocked out dates where you're not able to go because the parks are busier that day. That might be Christmas Day or some of the holidays where it might be really busy and they won't let you go to the parks those days. But any other day, you can go to the park. So I would definitely take advantage of that, because when else in your life are you going to be able to go to the Disney parks for free? These are world-class parks. You're probably not going to have an opportunity to go so many times like you will on your Disney College program. So I'd really encourage you, even if you're tired, to just hop over to a park. And, going to parks also changes on the Disney College program. If you're coming from a family like mine where you would just go from opening to close and try to do every single ride during that day, get everything you can on your park day, when you're on your college program, that might not necessarily be the case. You might only want to do 1 or 2 rides that day, because you can go anytime you want, so you might only go to the park for a couple of hours. And it's such a blessing that you're able to do that. And you don't have the stress of worried about, I have to do every single ride today. You really don't, You can just go there. You can just go there, not even do any rides, meet some characters, eat a few snacks. It's really, really nice. And into that, you can go to the parks with friends, but you can also go by yourself. I remember on my college program, I was really scared to go to the park by myself. I thought oh my gosh, everyone's going to think I'm such a loser being in line by myself and meeting characters by myself, or, whatever. You're just so in your head about, oh my gosh, I don't want to go by myself. But honestly, it can be a lot of fun going by yourself. Especially, I found going to Epcot and going to Animal Kingdom were especially really fun by myself, because at Animal Kingdom, there's not as many rides, so you can just walk through all the animal attractions, and really take your time, see details that you might not necessarily see when you're with friends, because you can just kind of leisurely walk around and really take in all the details that has to offer. And same with Epcot, especially World Showcase. You can really just take your time and go through every single nook and cranny and look through all the shops. And because you're not with friends, like, you're not worried about, what does everyone else want to do? When you're by yourself, like, it's just whatever you want, so you can really take your time. And I definitely recommend going to the parks at least a few times by yourself, just to, see what it's like. And especially if you're going before or after work, you might not know anyone else who's getting off at the same time, or, working at the same time. And sometimes you have to go to the parks by yourself. So I would definitely recommend doing that. It was a lot of fun for me. And like I said, you don't know the next time you'll be at Disney World after your Disney College program. So you really want to take advantage of that. And you can also go to the water parks they have for free as well. They have Typhoon Lagoon and they have Blizzard Beach Water Park. Typhoon Lagoon's open during the warmer months of the year, and then Blizzard Beach is open during the colder months of the year. So I would definitely recommend checking those out as well, because those are a lot of fun. And so the last part that I kind of wanted to end with on this video is living in Florida. What is that like? So depending on the time of year that you go there, it could end up being really, really hot. The summer in Florida, in Orlando, is no joke, right? It's so hot, it is so humid, it rains every single day. And if you don't like warm weather, the Disney College program might not be for you, because you are going to be working outside in extremely, extremely hot conditions. And it can also get cold there too, right? Come December, January, February, it can get pretty cold. So you want to make sure that you have at least a few jackets and hoodies and long pants and stuff for when it does get cold. But it gets a lot hotter in Florida than it does get cold. So you want to make sure you have lots of t-shirts, lots of shorts. You're going to sweat to death. You're going to want to take showers multiple times a day in the summer, honestly, if you're working outside, because you do sweat so much and it is so hot. Because, Orlando's literally a swamp, right? So those summer months can be really brutal. Typically the winter months, the fall, spring, amazing time. It's wonderful weather while everyone else is covered in snow in the United States. You're enjoying the sun, and in January, you'll get 70-degree days, Sometimes even 80 degrees. Like, it can get really warm in the winter, but it can also get really cold at night, It can get into the 40s. It can even drop into the 30s on occasion. So you just want to make sure that you're kind of prepared for everything, depending on when you're coming during your college program, right? Like, if you're coming, for instance, January to May, you're not going to deal with the heat as much. You will toward the end of your program, but toward the beginning, you'll really want to make sure you have lots of jackets and stuff. But if you're coming from, say, June to October, like, you're going to be during the hottest season of the year. You're going to want to make sure you're prepared for that, right? And then also living in Florida, there's a lot of other theme parks right in Orlando. You've got Universal Studios. Personally, I got an annual pass on my college program, and a lot of my friends did too, so we would sometimes go to Universal Studios on off days, and that was just kind of a nice escape from Disney. And Universal just kind of has some more intense attractions if you really like, huge roller coasters or other just similarly, just really exciting attractions. You might want to check out Universal Studios, even if it's just for a day. And Orlando has a bunch of other theme parks too, but it also just has a lot of other things to offer. So I would definitely recommend just going to Orlando and seeing, different places and exploring Florida, because you don't know if you'll ever live in Orlando again, right? So yeah, that kind of concludes the video, guys. I really hope you liked it. I hope you found it informational. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comments. I would love to answer those for you. Personally, I had a really, really amazing time on my Disney College program, and most of my friends did too, but I also know people who didn't have such a great time on their Disney College program. So it can really just depend on the person, what kind of person you are, your role, and just how intentional you are with making friends and going to the parks. And the program really is what you make of it. So I really just encourage you to go to the parks as much as possible and make those connections, and try to make the most of your job if it's not the job you really wanted. You can still have a lot of fun, even if it's, not something you really wanted to do. So, yeah, guys, that's really all. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. You'll see a bunch of other Disney College program videos that I'm making, and I'm moving to Tokyo soon, so you're going to see a lot of Japan-related content as well. So please subscribe. Make sure you stay around, and check it all out. Yeah, make sure to like this video if you found it helpful, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was helpful, and I'll see you guys again. Alright, guys. Good ciao.